Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. One of the themes that we talked about throughout 2025, but especially towards the end of the year, was the idea of world models. World models are, in some ways, a fundamentally different approach for getting to the next level of AI. World models have a deep understanding of the physics of the world around them, which allows them to do things that LLMs can't. Last year, one of the most impressive demos we got was the research preview of Genie 3. That came in August. That preview was circulated among a fairly tight group of researchers, but we still got to see some fairly breathtaking videos. Genie 3 is capable of generating playable 3D worlds, allowing the users to navigate through the scene with the mouse and arrow keys. Even back in the preview, the quality was fairly astounding, and it seemed like DeepMind was making rapid progress on world models. Well, now the model is fully available to the public, rolling out first to Gemini Ultra subscribers. It's still a research preview, but people can now start playing around and creating their own generated worlds for the first time. Jay Peters from The Verge used it to generate a string of worlds that resembled popular Nintendo games, including Mario 64, Metroid Prime, and Legend of Zelda. Rebecca Bellan of TechCrunch used it to create a marshmallow castle in a claymation style. You better believe that I'm an Ultra subscriber, and thankfully this was a model where when they said a certain category of subscribers had access to it, they actually did. The first thing I generated was a neon cyberpunk world set in the 2060s, but where there were no humans, only animals. I wanted a flying squirrel character, and the thing that you're seeing bounce around your screen now is that. The way that it works is you use text to describe your environment as well as your character, and then it's off to the races. The second world I created was an alternative multiverse Earth world, but where we actually got things like flying cars in a 1960s retro-future aesthetic. The character I plopped down was a time traveler from the 1990s. Lastly, it being the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and the birth of America, I of course had to do a bleak winter scene of late 1776. Cruz on Twitter summed up the feelings of a lot of folks who had a chance to play around with this. He writes, "The fact that the whole world isn't talking about Genie 3 right now is deeply concerning. This is going to hit the general public like a truck. It's genuinely going to cause such a disruption. I'm calling it right now that there will be no Grand Theft Auto 7 because we're just simply going to be able to generate it even if we extrapolate half the rate of progress from Genie 2 to Genie 3. Kyle Russell agreed, resharing Ethan Malick's generation of the world of Hamlet as seen from the perspective of the Poison, writing, "World models are going to hit the video game industry like an atomic bomb." Swix from Latent Space said that this finally got him to pony up for a Gemini Ultra subscription, and said that while Genie 3 has obvious flaws, it's here, real-time playable video world model. For the flaws, he says, it clips through a lot of terrain, worse than in a game engine. It also sometimes errors out, that you can only live in the world for 60 seconds, and that nothing else except the main character moves. But at the same time, he points out that it is again a real-time video world model, that its instruction following was pretty good, that its movement accommodates weird legs. He asked for a giant robot spider like in Wild Wild West. And finally, he said they never ever ship Genie models to production. Never ever. What TPU sorcery is this? Congrats to the Genie 3 team. I can't believe this actually shipped. What absolute mad lads. Now, speaking of AI video and AI video adjacent things, TechCrunch reports that the Sora app from OpenAI is struggling. Now, you might remember that when OpenAI launched Sora 2 in late September, it came along with a companion app. That app gathered over 100,000 downloads on day one and actually became the top app, exceeding ChatGPT. New data suggests, however, that the churn is extreme and new downloads have rapidly tapered off. According to app figures, Sora saw 3 million downloads across September and October, with another 3.2 million in November. Monthly downloads are now down almost 2/3 since then, with January figures at 1.2 million. On the US App Store, Sora has now fallen out of the top 100 list for free apps on both iOS and Android. Now, at this point, we don't really know exactly how OpenAI views Sora. I don't think that they necessarily released it because they had conviction that it was going to become the next TikTok. I think they released it because they wanted a place for people to try Sora video generations, and they wanted to see how people would receive an AI-first social network. Remember, OpenAI has a deal with Disney, and so we'll see if over time that actually changes the fate of Sora, or whether AI video just ain't it. As an AI video aside, if you haven't seen Time's On This Day 1776 yet, I highly encourage you to go check it out. You can find it on Time's website, and basically they got Darren Aronofsky to use AI to create a series that brings us back to the incredibly fraught and important year of 1776, but in a way that's an actual film rather than just a documentary of historians talking about it. The comments are, of course, just chock-a-block full of people screaming about what AI slop it is, and while I understand that there could be good faith critique of where we are with AI video, I think it's pretty awesome, really well done, and shows, of course, where we are headed. Moving back, however, to our last couple of headlines, Perplexity has signed a massive new cloud deal with Microsoft, diversifying them away from AWS. The deal includes $750 million in spending across a 3-year term. Interestingly, Perplexity said that part of the rationale for the deal was the ability to access models from OpenAI, Anthropic, and xAI through Microsoft's Foundry platform. Perplexity has their own in-house model that powers free usage, but paid users have access to a variety of models from other labs. The Microsoft deal could allow them to consolidate the service onto a single platform instead of tapping individual APIs from rival labs, which could of course become relevant if first-party API access is blocked, as Anthropic has done to multiple other competitors over the past year. The deal also gives Perplexity a failover option if Amazon pulls the plug. AWS has been Perplexity's major cloud provider since launch. However, in November, Amazon sued Perplexity for disguising their web crawling activity related to agentic shopping. If that lawsuit gets nasty, Perplexity could certainly benefit from having another option. Speaking of Anthropic, our last story today is that Anthropic is going to war with the Pentagon over limits to their military AI deal. In the first half of last year, each major AI lab signed a deal to provide AI technology to the military. OpenAI, Meta, Google, xAI, and Anthropic all signed up, with multiple labs shifting their acceptable use policies to facilitate the deals. Now, the notion was that the technology would be mostly used for administrative tasks at the Department of Defense/Department of War, with limits on surveillance and warfighting applications. Anthropic's deal came in July and was worth $200 million, which for some felt like kind of a big departure from Anthropic's founding principles regarding AI safety. In the latter part of the year, the Department of War announced a string of initiatives aimed at driving AI adoption at the Pentagon, which included discussions of lethal applications of the technology. Reuters now reports that Anthropic's relationship with the Department of War is souring to the point the contract might be terminated. Sources said that tensions began almost immediately. Anthropic's terms had rejected the use of the technology for lethal operations and domestic surveillance. Administration officials were reportedly frustrated by Anthropic dictating terms, arguing that usage should be unrestricted as long as it complies with U.S. law. The government's desire to leverage AI, fully autonomous weaponry, and mass surveillance is apparently weighing on the mind of CEO Dario Amodei, with both themes featuring prominently in his recent essay about the dark side of AI adoption called The Adolescence of Technology. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is also airing the grievance in public. At an event earlier this month, he said the Pentagon would not, quote, employ AI models that won't allow you to fight wars. Sources said that these comments were squarely aimed at the simmering dispute with Anthropic. Officially, Anthropic issued a partial denial of the schism. Their spokesperson said, Anthropic is committed to protecting America's lead in AI and helping the U.S. government counter foreign threats by giving our warfighters access to the most advanced AI capabilities. They added that Claude is used, quote, extensively in national security missions, and that Anthropic is in productive discussions with the Department of War about ways to continue that work. However, with a quick glance over the current headlines, it's easy to see why Anthropic might be second-guessing their provision of the technology to the government. Both Wired and The Information reported on ICE's use of AI in 2025, which has also become apparently an issue for Palantir employees. MAI on Twitter summed up the stakes, writing, "The stakes here go way beyond one contract. It's about whether frontier AI labs become neutral infrastructure providers or political actors that get to say no when governments want to weaponize their models. Whatever compromise or standoff emerges will likely shape how regulators, allies, and rivals think about AI red lines for years." This, my friends, is very much deserving of a full exploration, and I'm sure we will have context at some point to do that. For now, however, that is going to do it for the headlines. Next up, the main episode.